Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. What an awesome start. I told our two co-chairs that they missed their vocation in life. Stand-up is definitely their opportunity. Now, this morning we talked a lot about opportunity. Now it's time for a sobering reality. So forgive me. I don't mean to cause you indigestion. The solution is in the antioxidants in a cup of tea. There's some beautiful teas outside, so please indulge. And let me talk about value in tea. Now, since tea was first discovered, Camellia sinensis has been revered for its value as a medicine, as a beverage, as the taste of nature, from Lao Tzu's proclamation of tea as the elixir of life to the current perfect alignment of fine tea with Gen Zers, with millennials, and their desire for the flavor exploration that we heard this morning, the natural wellness we heard of, the authenticity that drives quality. There is no herb that so perfectly matches evolving lifestyle preferences than tea. How then can this most valuable herb, more relevant to humanity today than ever before, suffer the paradox of an existential crisis? And it does. Following its genesis in China, tea grew as a byproduct, unfortunately, of a vicious and exploitative enterprise that we know as colonialism. But by the 1960s, that catastrophic phase and its ancillaries, including the quite brutal East India Company, had ended. Yet, this extractive form of capitalism persists, albeit in the hands of different actors. Now, central to this contradiction is the mistaken assumption that price and value are equal. They're not. Price is arbitrary. Value is fundamental. Price is a market-driven construct. It's imposed by supply and demand. It's marketing, information, misinformation. It's wholly disconnected from the notion of value. And value is the sum of the livelihoods, the welfare of workers, the soils, the food security, the safety, health, wellness of our customers. It's a socioeconomic development of our nations. It's also the basis for genuinely fair and ethical trade. So capitalism superseded colonialism, and businesses, many foreign entities, global corporations, now in the role of determining the economic prospects of the independent producer nations. There is an interesting and contentious Canadian law professor, Joel Bakan, who wrote in his book, The Corporation, published in 2004. He talks of the problem with capitalism, and he says, we have a global theology without morality, without a Bible. And he warns that's dangerous, and his words, not mine. Forgive me for the minor diversion into French. He says, we are not going to be able to exist in a global context if we are the bastards of our business. Now that's one perspective. And go back a little bit further. In The Wealth of Nations, the foundation of economic theory, Adam Smith in 1776, he talks of individual enterprise delivering general benefit, and because he acknowledged that no society could flourish where the majority of people lived in poverty. Individual enterprise delivering general societal benefit. It has to filter down. Now, since that, the falsehood that was perpetrated in the GFC, the global financial crisis in 2008, that tea should be sold on everyday low price, that has been the overriding trend in tea, unfortunately. Producers struggling for survival in a category that boasts the second most popular beverage in the world, EDLP, and its highly profitable proponents, assuming the role and function of colonists. When prices are low, I don't need to tell you, quality is hard, challenging even for the most passionate amongst our producers. Innovation, nearly impossible. In 2003, the former CEO of Boeing instructed his team to cut costs. He told them to develop a plane for less than 40% of what the 777 had cost to develop. He wanted it built for less than 60% of the 777. The result was the 737 MAX, an aircraft whose sensors malfunctioned due to poor design and caused the death of 346 people. Now, cost cutting in tea may not deliver such a catastrophic cost in human life, but it does. The progressively low quality, the massive compromise in the benefits for producers that fuels half price, that fuels Black Friday, that fuels buy one, get one free offers, promoted by a facade of value, images of lush tea gardens, the promise of great taste and goodness, of ethics, sustainability, that corrosive discounting carries offshore margins that are the stuff of dreams for producers. And it's clear, therefore, that in all of this, it's the producer that pays the price. The consequences are evident today. Rapidly diminishing shelf space, a lack of innovation, a lack of everything that we heard about this morning in the tea category, simply because the money isn't there. Compression of specialty and mainstream tea into tea, a commodity. An absence of the richness of terroir, a feature of tea that is the strength of the flourishing wine, coffee, chocolate, olive oil categories, and even water, as Shabnam reminded us. We see an increasingly undifferentiated offering that is less tea, more herb, and the subjugation of sophistication, of diversity, of quality, and the potential in tea. All of this subjected to commoditization. And so tea is an affordable luxury. We know that, we saw that this morning. It has a rich heritage and it has a richer relevance to modern lifestyle. In that reality, discounts really, I hope you'll agree with me at the end of this conference, it's the last refuge of the most unimaginative. Worse, deep discounts, it's the genesis of a cancer that spreads, eventually consuming its host. That's bad news. But now there's good stuff too. We're blessed with a herb that was born as a medicine. It evolved into a beverage. It has potent benefits for human health, from cognitive to cardiovascular health. It alleviates stress and more in an unassuming herb that delivers diversity as complex as nature herself. There is ample evidence of all this. You don't need to take my word for it. PubMed, 22,000 at last view, research papers evidencing this scientifically. And so there is also ample evidence in that complexity in the 10 to 12,000 teas that we are blessed to experience each week in our island. The magic in that richness of diversity of teas from Dimbulla, from Uva, Sabargamo, Candy, and more. The sophistication is in the dramatic difference that sunshine, rainfall, winds, and soil have in transforming each continually. The definition of luxury today, remember, it's changed. It's no more material. It's now far less material as it was many years ago. It's now defined by nature, because for the first time we are at risk of losing nature. It's delivered more consciously, ethically, and so tea is so very luxurious, influenced by nature, and so very valuable. So consumers are concerned about health and wellness more than ever before, from baby boomers to Generation Z, sensitized, I guess, in a sense, by the pandemic. They love taste adventure. They value nature. They love natural experiences. Tea is abundant in each of these. Natural diversity, plant-based taste and goodness, promoting healthy aging, dignifying food in a very special way through its emulsifying aspect. And so, when we talk of some of the priorities that were discussed in the morning, tea, the goodness in tea, promotes healthy aging. It adds excitement to the no-low beverage trend that we are seeing around the world that are devastating beverage revenues. Tea has the answer. Enhancing mood, immunity, complementing lifestyle in a way that no other beverage can. And the consumer is on our side. Between 60 and 80% of consumers, depending which study you look at, are estimated to value sustainability. A similar number value ethics and the lives of less fortunate, and for the first time, they're prepared to pay a fair price for what they consume. They're demonstrating on the streets of Europe and the USA for that right. Now, as growers, we're on the front lines of climate action, inequality, gender, and most of the SDGs. The decisions we make can determine whether future generations have the same food security, ecosystem services, the welfare that we all are privileged to have in 2024. We want to do what is right, but the right and valuable path costs more than the one that price demands of us. Fair wages, access to education, productive soils, great tasting tea, a sustainable, resilient and reliable industry are the responsibility of consumers, retailers, brands, traders and producers equally. For the global tea industry to survive, we need to rebuild the foundations of our great industry, to discard extractive colonial principles. We need to adopt a new deal, and that must involve consumers, retailers, brands, traders, and producers in a collaborative effort to focus on quality, on worker welfare, climate action, innovation, and sustainability, all of the things that consumers value. Now, my father, tea maker Merrill J. Fernando, envisaged business as a matter of human service. His lower middle-class rural parents could not afford him an education beyond what was known at that time as a senior school certificate. That lack of an MBA was his greatest blessing because his most significant influence on his business philosophy was his mother. And she taught him that our humanity, kindness, always takes precedence over every action and interaction, business or personal. The strength and resilience of our tea business today is that philosophy. It's a philosophy of kindness. When I went to university, I wasn't taught that that is a principle of business. And it is that which endears consumers. It's that that benefits workers and brings us their commitment. It's that that helps us in times of challenge. It's that that connects us to the wider community, supports innovation, supports development as we strive to fulfill my father's promise of making the world a better tea. Now, the change that is necessary is complicated, and it won't be easy, but nothing great ever is. What is beyond doubt, though, is that it is urgent and it must be done. And together, we can do it for the sake of our industry, its people, its future. It begins with the right mindset, acknowledging the preeminence of value over price. It continues with the commitment to rebuild a sustainable tea industry around what the consumer is telling us, as explained this morning, and on a foundation of taste, of wellness, welfare, climate resilience for a more equitable and vibrant industry. Only that can deliver value through a diverse, delicious, healthy, and flourishing tea category. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. We have an incredible panel today. We have Dr. Ibrahim Afshar, we have Dr. Mao Limin, and we have Kun Sinianat and Nathaniel. And they are going to share in their respective areas, talking about different aspects of value from different perspectives. We also have two expert panelists. We have Sebastian Michaelis from Tata, and we have Mr. Nadeem Ahmed, all the way from the UK and from Kenya sometimes, of Global Tea and Commodities. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, I thank you for your attention, and may I introduce Dr. Ibrahim Afshar. Ibrahim.